How's it going, YouTube? Welcome into the channel. Welcome into a brand new thing. It's kind of weird probably not seeing me with the foundation guys slapping the camera, yelling the intro of our video, but this is something different. This is something new for me. Basically, I've got my own channel now. I've decided there was a lot of content that I wanted to do on my own time, away from kind of the foundation brand, and I wanted to kind of explore creating a little community with just some things that I want to post. So yeah, today I figured we're gonna start out by just doing a little Q&A. I tweeted out asking for some questions, kind of saying if I hypothetically started a new personal channel, which obviously not hypothetical, what would you ask me? So I've got some questions today. I'm gonna play some holes in between. We're out here at Peaksview Park. I'm gonna play 18 holes. I'm gonna answer a question in between each hole. So hopefully you'll get to know me a little bit better. If you don't know me from foundation, you'll get to kind of get an idea of what this channel is all about, and we'll get to watch some disc golf. So that's a goal today. I think we should set a goal for today. We're gonna play the short baskets because the longs out here, you know, they're not really worth my time. Yeah, so we'll play the short baskets, and I think we'll make our goal to shoot 9 under par. If we can shoot 9 under the short baskets, I think I can sleep tonight with that one. I aced this hole not too long ago, so I should be set up for success here. Going with the buzz. Get out of that tree. Did not get out of that tree. Not gonna make birdie today, just gonna jump this up. Hey. Not too bad. We'll start with a par and get to our first question then. All right, so tap in par, and our first question, which comes from Julian Santana, and a lot of other people as well are asking this question. That is why? Why am I starting my own channel? I made sure to add a disclaimer when I tweeted about this because I know mentioning doing my own work, it sounds very much like, oh, I'm moving away from foundation, I want to start my own channel. It's like if I was a part of a boy band, which I think foundation in many ways is a boy band, and I decided to go solo. That's not what's happening here. This is, I decided to do this in my free time. When I first joined foundation, I would not have considered myself a very creative person. That's not how I would have described myself, at least. My first work with foundation was part of being, you know, a YouTuber, but a lot of it had to do with some managing the warehouse and our inventory and sales and that kind of thing. It's only been recently that I've transitioned into full-time media at foundation, and what I found is I really enjoy the process of making content. I've fallen in love with doing YouTube and just making that effort to put out a community that other people can be a part of and you can be proud of. And it's just a lot of fun. I like content creation. It's a really addictive and fun thing. So I decided I wanted to do my own channel to kind of build another community that'll be a little more personal. If you're not a fan of me, if you've already seen me in foundation, this is not gonna be for you. But just to do some videos that we wouldn't normally do, you know, maybe that'll be some vlogging type content. It'll be all disc golf related, I'm sure. But you know, maybe I wanna show off my disc collection or maybe do a little bit of coaching, who knows? Nothing too advanced, but yeah, there's just a lot of things I wanna do. And I just decided to be fun. You know, it's something that I'm just kind of trying out. So with that, I kind of also give a little call to action. If there's any content you want to see me make, comment it down below. I have a few ideas for things I want to do, but it's not all set in stone whatsoever. So if there's anything you would like to see me make, now's the time. Put that in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to tune in for whatever I do next. And I'll, you know, just kind of do whatever. It's really a fun thing. So we'll see what happens. All right, start hole 1 with a par. Try to get hole 2. I'm not starting on hole 1. I probably should have mentioned that. I started on hole 6. Try to get ahead of a few groups. So if you've seen Peaksview a million times before on Foundation's channel and you're confused, that would be why. But we will play all 18. Not my favorite hole. Not a hole I'm great at. I'm gonna try and throw the high turnover today. Very risky. That's why. Oh, good kick. I might actually putt a little bit. All right, we actually ended up with a decent uphill look here. That was awful. That was more than awful. If you guys thought, there we go. Nope, that still stunk. If you thought you saw a lot of bad putting before, now that it's just me, ready for a whole lot of it. All right, another par, not a great start, but it could be worse. This next question comes from Tony Van Ash, and he says, wants me to get personal. What is the reason that I went to college in Lynchburg and then also ended up with foundation? This is a story you can probably find somewhere in the Foundation Podcast Network, but for my channel, you're right, Tony, it's a good thing to kind of like set the scene, how I ended up in Lynchburg doing disc golf stuff anyways. So the way I ended up in Lynchburg for college was because I attended Liberty University. The reason I went there is because my sister went there first. It was kind of becoming a popular place to go in our area. After my sister went there, I was somewhat interested, not like I wasn't completely dead set it or anything. I had already, you know, had it in my mind that I was going to commute, go to college locally, but I decided to visit. And after one visit, I was like, you know what, this place is pretty great. I need to get out of the house. I was homeschooled through high school. So it was time for me to get out of the house, move away and go to college. So that's how I ended up in Lynchburg at college. I joined the disc golf team right away there. And then how I ended up with Foundation is because I played on the disc golf team with Hunter, who also went to Liberty. So that's how we initially met. Soon after I graduated college, an opening appeared for me at Foundation. Hunter already had a relationship with me. I had reached out to him before about joining the company, and he let me in. So that was a very exciting phone call I got one summer in 2020, and that's how I ended up at Foundation. It was, I was lucky to have networked with my teammate Hunter while I was in college, and that allowed me to get a foot in the door. This hole is just straight up the hill. We got to get the birdies going here. Oh, that's a good one. No, it's not. Thought it was good. I had that Lucid Judge in my bag for a while, a Lucid Ice Judge, I think it is. Lost it, got it back, forgot how stable it is, because that thing, it'll fade a little at the end. And now we got another tester, 3 straight holes, Peaks View Shorts. We're putting together a performance here. All right, another long uphill bid for birdie, my absolute favorite. I mean, like what? I threw a good putt there if you account for the fact that it never had a chance of going in the basket the second it left my hand. Okay, yet another par. Starting to get maybe mildly nervous. This is not going super well. The next question though comes from Jason Dumwald, and he's basically asking, what position do I see myself in as like a final position at Foundation? How, like whenever I retire or whatever, if things go well, where would I be? You know, as the company grows and maybe needs like a CEO, CFO, those kind of positions, could I see myself filling one of those roles? To answer that, I don't really know. You know, I came into Foundation as employee number 1, the first employee ever hired by the company. At the time, it was a plug and play type thing. It was like whatever needed done, and that's still the way our company operates a good bit now, but it was whatever needed done, I was doing. You know, that's how everybody operated, Hunter as well. I was brought in a lot to handle orders, customer service, the warehouse, like purchasing even sometimes. There was a lot of that stuff. But then I was immediately put in as part of the cast members for the podcast and the YouTube videos. You know, that was a gap they needed to fill. That's what I did for the longest time. Recently, within the past year or so, I've moved, you know, when we got All Business Brad as part of the team, I moved over to full-time media. Now I kind of oversee a lot of the media stuff as far as, you know, helping put brand deals in place, workshopping video ideas. I do some social media account running, so I do a lot more of the media stuff now. I could definitely see myself staying in that media lane. That's just where I'm at now. I honestly don't know though, because, you know, I wouldn't mind being anywhere in the company, really. I liked doing the warehouse stuff. That was fun. I love doing the media as well. That's kind of what inspired me to start this channel and be more creative. And it's been really fun doing that. So I definitely could see myself continuing to kind of oversee media. And as media becomes a bigger and bigger part of our company, it's already a very large part of it. Yeah, who knows what that role could increase to? I don't know though. CEO of Foundation, it has a pretty decent ring to it, but we'll see. But aside from that, this next hole is literally a jump putt. So if I don't birdie this one, we might have to delete the channel. I think that rolled to like 50 feet. Lovely. All right, that could have been way worse. We didn't roll nearly as far as I thought, but it's still a tester. I really need to open the birdie account right now. There we go. Okay, this basket historically has been kind of broken, but it fixed just in time for me to make that. All right, we're on the board. That's one birdie. On to the next question. Here we go. All right, we're 1 under. We got something going here. On to hole 10. Next question is from Zach Cloxton, and he asks, who is the best teacher I know of right now that'll help you get from the MA1 level to MPO level? Arguably, at this point, the hardest jump to make, well, not even arguably, I think it is. Immediately, first answer is my good friend Robbie C. He's a fantastic coach. I think Robbie has a really cool way at looking at disc golf. He has techniques. You know, when I first got into disc golf, a lot of people were saying the exact same things, you know, talking about, oh, pulling through, snapping the towel, the power pocket. A lot of the concepts that you heard were repeated over and over and over again until it became redundant. Robbie was one of the first people I talked to in a long time that when I first met him and started talking over disc golf technique, he was using all of these terms and ideas that I had just never heard before. He has really unique approaches to disc golf and some stuff that if you feel stuck at where you are, his approach could really help you break through that next level, because I think a lot of people plateau at that MA1 level. I know I certainly did. I've never really gotten better than that. But yeah, Robbie C is a good one. The coaching world is starting to get more and more saturated. I'd like to do maybe a little bit of coaching on this channel if that's something people are interested in. I can't get you too far in disc golf. I've only gotten so far myself. I definitely know some beginner techniques and some things that can help people along their way if that's something you're looking for. But Robbie C, definitely check out his channel. He's got some great coaching videos. We're going to judge again. You're gonna see this disc like the entire round. Well, that was actually a decent throw, but see, there's that fade at the end. A little backspin, a little roll. One thing I wish disc golf had more than anything is the ability to spin a disc predictably. There's nothing more satisfying in golf, traditional golf, when you get backspin on a shot. It's so awesome. And in disc golf, sometimes you get those shots like that land and roll, and it's like, ooh, I put spin on it. You know, it's just kind of a funny joke, but if you actually could, that would be really fun. All right, we finally have a stress-free, nice, easy birdie. And we have our next question as well from Mikey Patario. Mikey asks, and I believe somebody else had asked this question too, why don't you talk about Chelsea more? And for those of you who aren't soccer fans, no, Chelsea is not some girl. It is the soccer team that I support, or football team, if you're into that sort of thing. They are in the Premier League, and I would love to have an outlet to talk more about Chelsea. If you want me to talk a little soccer on this channel, then sure. That's what this channel is here for. It's really gonna be an outlet for all my interests. Yeah, I'll just add, Mikey, that I've got high hopes for this season. I would hope so after we spent like half of Elon Musk's net worth to try and finish in the top 4. So let's see how that works. All right, hole 11 is a bit of a tricky one. You see that group of trees up there? Let me tell you the real strategy for this hole. Throw it at the group of trees and see what happens. The basket's kind of tucked around it. I'm actually gonna try and flex the Zone OS out there. Let me know what you think about the Zone OS in the comments. I still haven't really decided. It's unique. I'm a sucker for discs that are so overstable that there's nothing else like it. Like, that just immediately calls my name, because I just know at some point in my life I'm gonna be in a spot where I need that shot. And it happens more than I would think. This could be one of them. I'm gonna try and flex it backhand around the trees. See, now, if it would have beat that tree, it had some designs. Scrambling on these par 3 courses is so dreadful, because half the time you just end up like 90 feet away from the basket, even on your worst shots, but you can't actually make it. But it's like the most boring up and down ever. And you don't really learn much either. Just kind of chuck it up there. Hope that doesn't go in. That would have been ironic. We tapped in another par, stellar. Another question here, we're on the hole 12 now. We got another question. This one's from Blake, and Blake asked, realistically, how long did you see yourself staying with disc golf and foundation when you first got into it? So this is a very good question, because disc golf, when I first got into disc golf, I was 13 years old, I believe. My uncle showed it to me. He had played it when he was younger. I got addicted immediately at that point. I was playing tournaments within a year. I was playing as much as I could. I wanted every single disc. It hooked me, much like it hooks a lot of people. However, very soon after I got into high school, I was still playing sports very avidly at that time, and high school sports, as many of you high school athletes will know, is no joke. I was practicing every single day. I had all these games. So competitive disc golf for me fell by the wayside. I was still playing when I could, but there were times where I thought to myself, I don't really know what more I'm gonna do with this sport. That changed when I went to college and decided to play on the disc golf team. I was like, you know what, let's get back into disc golf. It'll give me a chance to be on a team and be a part of something I always wanted to do. So once I was in college, I was fully into it, practicing all the time. However, then after college, and as college was ending, I was once again kind of thinking to myself, you know, that's kind of it for me in disc golf. You know, I want to keep playing this game forever, but it's not really going to be something I'm doing all the time. You know, I'm going to be busy. I just didn't really think it was going to be a huge part of my life. Once that call from Foundation came, that changed everything, obviously. And I will say, since being a part of Foundation, I've actually loved disc golf more than I ever have. It really has brought this joy of playing disc golf back into my life that I never really had before, honestly. With Foundation, I'll be honest, from the second I joined Foundation, I thought this company was going to the moon. Like, I really saw all the potential that it had with the ownership. And, you know, at the time it was owned by Paul Macbeth and Brody Smith. Like, what else am I to think? I'm like, this is great. I'm the first employee. I'm gonna be a millionaire. So I was always very confident in Foundation, and that confidence has never wavered. Obviously, I'm not a millionaire, but we have grown a ton in just the 3 years that I've been here. It's been a blast. So I shouldn't say here. We're no longer on the Foundation channel. This is my own channel. That's gonna be really hard for me to do. But yeah, I've always been confident in Foundation. All right, I'm gonna throw this in the basket. This course has a few of these little flex, like tight flex shots. Not my specialty. You'll come to know that well, especially when the tee pad slants off like it's gonna fall off the side of this hill. Going slammer here. Oh, that's a good one. I could go in, folks. I'm not even kidding. Oh my gosh, I've never filmed myself before, so I don't know if that even caught. That's a lie, I've filmed myself before, but not in this context. I just hit the top like side of the chains and kicked down and almost went in. I almost aced on my first video. And also, I've aced the last 2 times I've been at this park. So something is stirring in my disc golf ability right now. Dang, you really know I got a bad break, because this basket even has the top half of it like tilted up. That's kind of where I hit, and it still didn't stick. It just kicked me down. So really didn't take advantage of what the basket was giving me there. Almost had the ace though. Nonetheless, easy tap in for birdie. All right, got tap in birdie. We're 3 under now. We're moving. We're getting things going. Next question comes from Jess, and he's asking, are there any, what are some foundation videos that we thought up and thought were going to be great, but then they just didn't work out how we thought they were going to, or they just weren't that great and we ended up scrapping them? So, fun fact, I'm trying to think, but I don't think that we've ever filmed a video. I don't know that we've ever filmed a video and just straight up not released it. Believe it or not, we do put a pretty good amount of thought into our videos before we shoot them, because we've learned from the past. Back in the day, Hunter and I filmed some stuff that we would never film these days. Even when Connor joined, and in those days, we filmed some stuff. If you want to look back to like some of the goofier videos we did, like slip and slide disc golf and plywood disc golf, there were just some crazy videos we wouldn't do anymore. We've kind of figured out the science of what does well on YouTube, and that's what we stick to now. We know what our audience wants. There are plenty of stuff like that we've just kind of learned from, but we always just kind of rolled with it. And there are definitely, I would say, the videos that stick out to me that we thought were going to do really good but didn't are the slip and slide disc golf. We thought that was genius and just nobody really cared. It just didn't really pan out how we thought it was going to. And then we also did one called 4-wheel forehand challenge, where we basically had like a UTV and we like drove real fast and leaned out the side and like threw shots out of it while we were moving. Really fun. Got like no views. So there's definitely been some duds like that, but we don't really scrap videos. You just kind of go with it. All right, we're going with the slammer again. It's hungry for an ace. This is like the same exact shot. That one's left. Hit a house. Did not hit a house. 30-footer. I feel like it really enhances the pressure when I set the camera up behind the basket, because now it's like, well, if I miss, I'm gonna look stupid and I'm gonna maybe hit my phone. There we go. All right, we got something going here in this round. I thought for sure there was no way we were making it a 9 under, but we may just yet. Another short, easy one. All right, this question comes from Pat Wheatley, and he asks, are there any disc golfers that if you met them, you would fanboy over them? Now, these days with my occupation, I've had the opportunity to meet a ton of disc golfers. I've honestly met so many of the amazing FPO and MPO players that are out in the field these days. Too many to even name at this point because of what I do, and I've been able to interview people through the Foundation Podcast Network platform that I was given. So that's been really cool. In person, I've met a lot less, but still a good few. One of the times that I distinctly remember being like fanboyish, like starstruck, was the first time I met Paul Macbeth. And that was when I was in college and he came to one of our practices, and I hadn't ever seen a professional disc golfer in person before of that stature. And when he first walked across the field, it's like I was seeing a ghost. It was so crazy, so surreal to meet him in person. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. The first time I met Brody was very similar, honestly, because I'd watched him on YouTube. These days, as far as people that I haven't met but would fanboy over if I met them, and there's a good few I haven't met in person, but I don't know. I don't know. I met Ken Climo once, which was really cool. I don't know. I'll have to think on that one. Meanwhile, throw this in. Ooh, that was close. I hit the last tree, kicked down the hill, sick. Give us a Texas flip. Do you guys do the Texas flip? Have we made that kind of like more mainstream? I actually, first time, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Texas flip is when you flip your disc over instead of marking it. Obviously it's not PDGA legal, but I never heard it called that until Brody called it while we were in Texas, and I was like, that's fun. There's a name for cheating now. But I do it a lot. Not in tournaments, of course, disclaimer. All right, we're gonna make this. This basket is not regulation, never was. Oh, it needs to get left. Not good. That's another par. We got another par and another question. This one is from Chris Gastre, and he's asking, if I were a touring professional, would I have one bag for all courses or build my bag accordingly for each course? I think I would like to keep my bag mostly the same. You want to have your best discs at all time, the ones you're most comfortable with. But if you were playing a course that felt a little one-dimensional, or if there was water involved and you felt like you needed more backups, that could be a play. I feel like that's what I normally would do, is like, even though I'm not touring, if I play a course with a lot of water, I might jam a disc or two extra in there that are just like generic, throw it over the water type discs. But I've certainly never changed my bag around for a certain course. But I could see why it makes sense to me. You just have to learn more discs, and that's gonna be difficult. You know, discs are they can be a very frivolous thing, because one throw they can fly different than the next if you hit a tree or something. So trying to learn too many can be costly to your game. I think it's almost better to get like no more than 30 discs that you know really well. This is hole 15, just a little flick forehand down the hill. I'll tell you for free, that was a pretty poor effort and a pretty good result. So yes, just to set the scene for this putt I'm about to attempt, this is probably, I wish I had something for scale, but this is probably the most illegal basket in all of the United States and maybe the universe. There has got to be at least like 4 to 5 inches less room to make the basket or to make it over the cage. Like, it's very sad. All right, now that I've set myself up with an airtight excuse, it's time to just jam this putt anyways, get to 5 under. I think that's where I'm trying to get. I got this like log in my back stance. I kind of like it. I can't lie, it's like pushing off a diving board. Oh, no way. Oh. Hate to say it, but on a regulation basket, that just doesn't miss. All right, we're on the hole 16, and Jack Harris is wondering, should I buy a zone and in what plastic? Yes, you should buy a zone. FoundationDisc.com is a great place to find them. And you know, for the longest time, I would have said, just get a Z zone. It's like the meat and potatoes of disc golf discs, really. It's steady, you know what you're gonna get from it. And I would still recommend that if you've never tried the zone, that's probably the truest flight. But if you have tried a zone or seen how they fly before and you're looking for something a little straighter, I'd recommend the ESP zone. Maybe this is even like the introduction to the zone. Start with this disc if you want to try it out at first, and then if it's not stable enough, maybe move up to the Z one. I recently fell in love with the ESP zone because they push straighter for longer. I found that the kind of shots I saw pros with a lot more arm speed throwing with the Z zones, I'm able to get out of these. I can throw them, they actually glide really far. So I would start with the ESP zone, you know, change things up. This is 2023. I'm gonna throw this one in the basket for you. My channel, cut that. That's just the raw and authentic disc golf you can expect on this channel. Just make like a 1.5 minute sales pitch for a disc and throw it into a tree. You won't see that on all your mainstream big disc golf channels, you know. Oh, that's a bomb right there. Ooh, tap in par, no big deal. Yet another par. Remember that thing when I said we're trying to make it to 9 under earlier? Let's just forget that. And that thing where I also said we're gonna play 18 holes, might forget that too, because it's just not going our way out here. It's not fair. On hole 17, our next question comes from Vinny Buckets on Twitter. Vinny, I know that's not your real name, I'm sure. If you're watching this somehow, I think you're the funniest disc golf Twitter personality. I'll just say it. He was wondering if there is a Lego and disc golf collab, what would the dream set be? I used to be a Lego guy. I don't know if you knew that about me, Vinny. You just kind of took a shot in the dark, but I did used to really like Legos, still do. You know, I've got a kid now, so I'm sure I'm gonna get back into them. But they have gotten expensive though. Might be a separate video, but Lego economics might be the next video on this channel. My dream set, I think you gotta go with, that's a tough one to answer because, you know, you need like some structure. I mean, the most iconic hole would be like 17 at USDGC, but like besides building the hay bales and the basket, a Lego disc golf basket would be sick. Like what is there to that? But there's not a lot of disc golf holes, at least good ones. Oh, you know what? I think hole 7 at USDGC would be cool, like the wall. One of those two. Comment down below if you have a better idea, because I don't feel like those are that good. Oh, that could be amazing. Ooh, pretty good drive, I will say. All right, birdie look on 17 is like mildly impressive. So let's see if I can like make it count here. I mean, yikes. Sometimes I throw a step putt and the first thing that goes through my head is I should be put in prison for that. And what's funny is, back in my college days, step putting, jump putting, I jump putted back then from like a straddle. That was the best thing I was best at. I was so good at it. Now, worst. Potentially the worst ever to do it. All right, we're on hole 18 now. Remember, video's not over after this. Gonna play the holes on the front that I missed earlier. This question comes from Hooligan Discs. Shout out Hooligan Discs. If you haven't checked them out, you should. They're asking how I would strategically grow a new disc golf brand, looking for some business advice. I'm no expert on it, but as somebody who sells in the disc golf world, works for an online retailer, I would say that, you know, the power of the influencer is ultimately what drives sales. And that doesn't just mean player influencers. You know, there are people on social media that do disc golf accounts that also influence quite strategically and quite effectively. So I would say, you know, the influence is the number one thing. You got to get your disc in the hand of somebody who is going to get it in front of people, make them want to throw it. The other important half of the equation is legitimizing your product through success. An example would be James Conrad winning Worlds with, or USDGC, no, USDGC was Innova. When James Conrad won Worlds with MVP, he legitimized that product. He won a major tournament with a disc, something that, you know, and that legitimized that product. So I think that's a big part of the equation as well. But those are kind of the half and half pieces of it. So you got to get your discs out to pros and social media personalities alike that'll influence, and then you also got to have successful pros that'll legitimize your product. But the influence part's more important. I mean, when Simon Lizotte went to MVP, the amount of MVP that was flying off shelves and still is, it's insane. I'm about to legitimize this judge by throwing it straight into the basket. No cap, that's actually pretty good. No, well, I think it's a little long and a little straight. Pretty good shot. While I'm thinking about it, if you want to see more of this content and more videos from me, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell, and throw a like on the video. It'll really help. You can see more of that. Yeah, I don't know how it'll be like. I'm trying to like bring some of my community from Foundation into this channel, but make it its own thing. So I don't know how it'll be, but subscribing, hitting the like button, that'll help kind of get things moving in the right direction. So if you want to see more missed putts like that are super cool, yeah, hit the like button. We're actually on to hole 1 now on the course. We've made it back to the daylight, back to the front. This question comes from Tim Young. How's it going, Tim? You asked, who was my favorite youth leader named Tim? Of course it was you, of course so. And then you're also wondering, what should the Disc Golf Pro Tour Network be doing to kind of cater to ESPN, some larger networks, and increase the money and exposure coming into the sport? Something we talk about a lot in the podcast, but we've talked so much about what can the Pro Tour do, because, you know, we scrutinize them very heavily. They're our best product. We put all our eggs in that basket. But a lot of the questions that we have about what they can and cannot do all come back to money and eyeballs on the sport. I think that at this point, it's less about what can the Pro Tour Network do and what can we do to get the answers to the questions that we have about them. Instead of talking about growing the product that we have inside of the disc golf bubble, we need to increase the bubble. I believe that growing the sport of disc golf is a really important agenda that I don't feel like is being addressed as much as it should. These bugs, man, I swear, they're the worst. I apologize. I don't think that we're addressing that agenda enough, just growing disc golf, because the PDGA and the Pro Tour Network, like, what are they doing really to grow the sport? How often do we see that reflected in all their initiatives? The Pro Tour is the only Pro Tour stateside. Like I said, if people come into the sport, they will be funneled eventually towards that. The PDGA, people will be funneled to that. It's not like they have competitors. So they should really just be focusing on growing the sport as a whole. And I'd like to see more of that moving forward. I think that'll answer a lot of our problems, because the Pro Tour can only do so much with the money they have. And ESPN is going to broadcast something that 1,000 people are watching. If that misses the trees, it's really good. Didn't miss the trees, it's not really good. It's okay. Just missing low today. That's a new one. I usually don't, you know? All right, so that's all the questions I actually had pulled for this video. I only made it like 14 holes or something, so that's really good planning for the first video, just, you know, really plugging away. So yeah, you can just enjoy this montage of me playing the rest of the holes briefly here and birdieing all of them, I'm sure. hopefully you enjoyed this video. Obviously this is the first video of this channel. It's a new thing that I'm doing, like I said at the beginning. If you want to see more of this type of video, I guess comment that down below. I'm going to be really interactive with this channel. You know, it's a very close-knit community. It'll be a lot smaller than what I do with Foundation. So I'm going to be commenting. I want to be in the comments and interacting with this community and just kind of seeing where it goes. We want to make content that you want to see as the viewer. So just comment down below, and I will do a lot more on this channel than we usually do with Foundation. You know, Foundation, we kind of have our series, we have our, you know, typical type of videos that we do. This channel, I really want to just do any and everything. You know, if you want me to show off my disc collection, sure, we'll do that. If you want me to do a coaching type video, we'll do that. If you want me to play disc golf and that's it and just talk to the camera, we will do that. So just let me know in the comments what you want to see out of this channel. I really appreciate the support. And once again, if you could like the video and subscribe, that would go a long way into helping this channel get going. I really hope to kind of create something fun with this channel. And yeah, here's to more missed putts. Oh, and I should mention that my plan initially is to upload once a week every Monday. So Monday is when you can expect the next video. If you hit the notification bell down below, you'll just get a notification next Monday when the next video comes out. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.